Journey to one of the most extreme places on Earth.
The whole wall over here seems to be on fire, on blue fire. It is a truly hellish place.
Where miners brave a toxic environment to carry out their back-breaking work.
It's about 60 kilograms.
Then it's on to Hell's Island. Home to one of the most active volcanoes on the planet. Where it rains fire at night in nature's greatest spectacle. Indonesia is one of the most volcanically active countries in the world. Its more than 17,000 islands are largely the result of volcanoes. The most populated island is Java, which has 45 active volcanoes. At the very edge of Java, you'll find Ijen caldera, an ancient volcano that erupted violently 50,000 years ago, creating a massive crater the size of New York City. Since then, many new volcanoes have formed around this crater. Ijen is an area of contrasts. The nutrient volcanic soils make it one of the best growing areas in Indonesia. Rice and coffee plantations have made this region wealthy by Indonesian standards. It's a stark contrast to the volcanic landscapes just above the town. Volcanologist and photographer Tom Pfeiffer has been to Ijen many times before. But he is back with fellow guide Andy Sasanto because of a recent discovery that is exciting the volcano world. Ijen produces an extremely rare phenomenon called blue fire. But it's only been discovered recently. That's because it happens at the bottom of the crater, which is one of the most inhospitable and toxic places on Earth. Visitors had been restricted to daylight hours, and the blue fire can only be seen at night. Tom is back to photograph them for a new book he is putting together on the world's active volcanoes.
It's a major tourist attraction, both for its beautiful lake, the scenery, but mainly for the occurrence of these huge sulfur deposits and the human activity that's going on there, the mining. All this makes you maybe even forget it is actually one of the most dangerous volcanoes.
This is because Ijen erupts every 10 to 20 years, and it can produce sporadic eruptions, where water comes into contact with magma and flashes to steam, causing a major explosion. These eruptions can occur without any warning. The dangers are an occupational hazard for a volcanologist. The crater is a 30-minute drive outside of town, a modest hour and a half to the crater rim. The hike starts out fairly easy, but as you climb higher, you're quickly reminded by the changes in the landscape and strong odor of rotten eggs that this is an active volcano. The crater rim is a charred and desolate landscape, reminiscent of a primordial world. At the bottom of this crater is Kawai Ijen, a turquoise acid lake, beautiful but deadly.
There you can see the plumes coming up from there. There is an array of extremely active fumaroles, small fractures in the rock where sulfur gases comes out.
The blue flames can be seen at night at the base of these jets. The gas is an eerie reminder that fresh magma lies just below the crater floor. Sulfur is one of the most abundant trace elements in magma. As magma rises from inside the Earth, sulfur dioxide and other gases are released. Because they are lighter and under intense pressure, they work their way up through cracks and weakness in the ground.
Ijen produces a lot of sulfur. It ranks on probably at the top 5 of volcanoes when it comes to sulfur output.
Why this happens is still a mystery to scientists.
You see, each volcano is so different from another volcano. It's as if they have their own personalities. Something which makes volcanology so extremely interesting. You can't always compare one volcano to another. Each is completely different.
One of the pluses of a volcano that produces this much sulfur is that it can be mined. Liquid sulfur flows out of the base of these jets. Sulfur mining is a decades-old tradition here, and for these miners, little has changed. The work is physically demanding, and every hour they spend in the crater shortens their life. There are about 200 miners working here in round-the-clock shifts. Despite the dangerous gases, most of them can't afford protective gas masks or gloves. The miners pay dearly for working in these toxic conditions. They all have health issues from breathing this toxic air. Few live beyond 60 years of age. The miners make 2 trips a day, carrying their weight in sulfur. Once they've filled their buckets with the hardened sulfur, the miners make their way up the treacherous paths to the rim, and then down to a weigh station. Many miners develop spinal problems and separated shoulders that end their careers. These men represent what is likely the last generation of miners who will work at Ijen. Their children have more opportunities than their fathers and are moving to the big cities.
It's about 60 kilogram. They can carry like 60 until 75 kilograms. And then this is the first time that they have to put in the weight stations to get a coupon. So after they get coupon, and they can keep the coupon to get some money to change to the factory. It's like $9.
From here, the sulfur goes to be refined.
So this is the first processing facility for the sulfur that was extracted from Ijen crater, where the raw sulfur blocks are being melted. Once it's boiling, it's still full of sand and other particles that are not useful. He scoops it out and passes it through a first very rough filter. The liquid runs down to over there, where a second person uses paper filters to extract coarser sand.
The sulfur mined here has many uses, in medicines for people living with HIV to diet supplements for vegans. Sulfur is the 3rd most abundant mineral in our body by weight, and the 6th most abundant macro mineral in breast milk. It's used widely in the manufacturing of plastics. It's also a key ingredient in the vulcanization of rubber, a process developed by Charles Goodyear that uses sulfur to make tires more durable. The demand for sulfur from places like Ijen is decreasing. This element is a byproduct of the oil and gas refining process, which is much cheaper. But as the chapter closes on the mining industry here at Ijen, a new chapter is opening, driven by blue fire. Many former miners have now turned to guiding tourists to the blue flames, because to get a permit to make the nighttime descent, you need a local guide.
This whole ball seems to be like on blue fire. It is a truly hellish place. If we go there to take pictures from close, we definitely need gas mask. It's not. There's no way you can breathe this without one. Even here, we have to be careful with the wind turns. We have to put them on. Fortunately, it seems the wind is relatively stable tonight and all goes this way, so we're good here. And it's an absolutely amazing sight. I've never seen anything like this.
The blue flames occur naturally. Because of the extreme heat, the pure sulfur ignites as soon as it is exposed to air.
You can't see the flames in daylight. I guess they're there, but you need the darkness to make them visible. In daylight, they're just too faint. You don't notice.
Tom wants to see where the liquid sulfur is pouring out. The sulfur gases burn blue, giving it the appearance of flowing blue lava. But the noxious cloud is giving him trouble.
Sorry, it's very difficult to be here without the gas mask, so excuse me if I have to put it on from time to time. Yes, we're in the middle of the fumes. Without the gas mask, it would be hell. I'm really glad this works. I don't know how long, but until now it's okay. We need the wind to turn again. Okay, the wind. No, it hasn't turned.
Because of the wind, Tom isn't able to get down to see where the liquid sulfur is flowing out. He'll have to try another time. Even in the dark, their work goes on. Since the discovery of the blue flames, increasing numbers of visitors are coming to the crater.
Yeah, so now we can see the miners, they're working, collecting sulfur, and then, in extreme conditions. But now at least they have, with gas mask and then, with it's better conditions. But still, this is kind of the extreme job, I think.
How long these blue flames will continue to draw in adventurous tourists is unknown. It's almost certain this volcano will erupt again. When it does, nature will take back the sulfur banks, and with it, its blue flames. But for now, Tom has his visual record of this special event in nature, and the people who brave these dangerous conditions to eke out an existence so they can feed their families. Each and every volcano is unique to photograph. Tom's favorite eruptions are Strombolian. These are small in scale and occur at regular intervals. They shoot glowing rocks everywhere and make for dramatic photos. Raung volcano next to Ijen is known for Strombolian eruptions of varying intensities. But unfortunately, the volcano's crater is almost inaccessible. The active vent is on the top of a high mountain inside a deep crater. Andy volunteers to go up on his own to assess its potential for Tom. Small Strombolian eruptions are occurring out of several vents. During the day, these eruptions look benign in nature, but as the sun sets, they come alive.
Yes. It's very down there. There is eruptions, an explosion burst, and I'm now in the rim of the crater, and there is inflated of the lava dome there with continuously Strombolian eruptions. We're gonna see this. It's very it's difficult to be here, but it's worth it, you know. It's amazing now, spectacular eruptions all the time, rumbling and then very loudly. You can see that. So again,
on a volcano like this, you quickly begin to notice patterns, allowing so it's possible to anticipate the next eruption.
it's gonna peak, I think. Yes.
The eruptions are spectacular and constant, but there's no way of getting close enough to the crater. Andy has another volcano in mind for Tom to get his shots of a Strombolian eruption. It too is difficult to access, but it's known to produce some powerful explosions. Batutara is a small volcano on the island of Comba, 3 hours out to sea off the island of Flores. Its name means burning stone. It's an hour-long flight away, passing over some of Indonesia's most famous volcanoes. Below is Tambora, responsible for the largest eruption in historic times, much bigger than the volcano that wiped out Pompeii. The volcano erupted in 1815, killing more than 70,000 people and led to a volcanic winter. Decreased global temperatures led to widespread crop failure in the northern hemisphere. It caused the worst famine in the 19th century. Tom is with his small group of experienced volcano photographers. They've arrived in Larantuka, a fishing village on the eastern edge of Flores Island, their starting point for Batutara. There are no planes or scheduled boats to this uninhabited island. The plan is to camp for several days on a small bit of rock beach directly adjacent to the active crater. That is, if it's not too dangerous. They've negotiated a lift from local fishermen.
Okay, so this is our boat, yeah? So you can photograph or, documentation, 15 minutes around the activity of the... This is fishing harbor, that's not the harbor.
Yeah, that's our boat. It's quite spacious. This is one of the typical traditional boats that go out for several days in a row and go especially for tuna fishing out in the seas of the Flores Sea. That they bring us to Batutara. They'll be around the island. They hopefully won't disappear when they see tuna swarms, but come regularly, pass by, hopefully maybe give us some fresh fish.
To Andy's knowledge, only 2 groups have stayed on Batutara, and both groups faced difficult seas, and their camps were pounded by waves. Today, the seas are calm, except for the strong currents that flow between the islands as water passes from the Flores Sea into the Indian Ocean.
Look at the wild water here. The water is absolutely calm, there's no wind, but the currents, it creates such a turbulence that it's definitely not a place you want to go swimming.
The trip to Batutara is lined with volcanoes. And they are evidence of how Indonesia was formed and why its volcanoes are so active. The Earth's crust is divided up into massive plates that move at the rate that fingernails grow. When 2 plates collide, the denser slab sinks down into the mantle below. This takes place in a subduction zone. Oceanic plates are generally older, colder and denser, and covered with layers of sediment that accumulated on the seafloor. Water sucked down in the subduction zone boils back to the surface and helps to melt the overlying rock. The resulting magma then rises to the surface in volcanic eruptions. Underneath Indonesia, the Indo-Australian plate is subducting under the Eurasian plate at a very steep angle. The result is a country-wide chain of volcanoes. The process takes millions of years, and Indonesia's many active volcanoes are proof it is happening right now. Back on the boat, Tom, Andy, and their group have had calm seas and a relaxed trip. The group of 5 photographers have traveled with Tom on several of his expeditions before. The rest of the passengers are boat crew and 3 hired hands to run the camp. Their plan is to set up a camp on the island and spend 4 or 5 days observing the volcano. And Tom is hoping to get the perfect shot for his book. But nothing is certain. They won't know whether they'll be able to land until they get there.
So now we are preparing the boat to get land. So this is the only way for us to get land to Batutara.
Batutara is an extremely active volcano that produces Strombolian type eruptions. These can throw boulders called bombs, more than 20 football fields. Their camp is going to be less than half that distance from the crater.
And the initial blast was, in this case, was a stronger one, and you could see pieces of the lava itself being ejected. Landing in the upper part of the slope, probably on the walls and tumbling down, it's beautiful. Now you understand why it's called the slide of fire. Well, we'll understand it even better at night when these bombs that we see now flying are glowing, which is a fantastic sight.
Today, the eruptions aren't throwing bombs in the direction of the campsite. So for now, it's safe to unload their equipment and set up camp.
We've arrived at our landing beach. We'll build up camp right here. It's just enough space for a kitchen, a tarp, and mattresses for everybody. The big advantage, of course, is we have a full view of the erupting crater. And you see it's very, very busy. Since we've arrived half an hour ago, it has at least done 5 or 6 explosions. I'm really looking forward to seeing this at night, especially. It should be a fantastic firework.
The crew on the boat won't stay. They will head out to fish overnight and return each morning to check on the camp and make sure that all is okay. For these fishermen, the expedition here is a good opportunity to supplement their pay. It will be another month or so until the tuna season starts. First order of business is to get the camp sorted. Meals need to be cooked and cameras set up. They've brought enough supplies for a week. The weather this time of year in Indonesia is hot, so they've opted for traditional ways to keep food fresh. The chickens don't seem to mind the explosions. As the eruptions continue, they change in intensity. To gauge their safety, Tom scours the beach looking for evidence of bombs. These are rocks that are thrown out during volcanic eruptions. They range in size from pebbles to boulders the size of a minibus.
Look where we are now, on the beach 50 meters behind our campsite. But look what we found here. A shattered but very fresh bomb that was ejected here. And I wouldn't have wanted to be here when this landed. There's no way you could survive an impact like this, or maybe if you're lucky and it just rips you an arm off, but probably it would just smash you in two. Or when this impacts, typically you have pieces flying off in all directions, so you could easily be killed or seriously hurt by any fragment that splintered. It just breaks off at impact.
A more powerful eruption sends bombs high up into the air. They are high enough to clear the old crater rim, landing about half the distance between the group and the crater, a comfortable margin.
Bombs, or in this case volcanic bombs, are larger pieces of lava that are being ejected by explosive activity. Per definition, anything whose diameter is larger than 64 millimeters, that means about like this, would be classified as bombs, whereas anything below that but larger is 2 millimeters across is called lapillis. Visually, the most interesting, the most beautiful to see are the bombs. They form glowing balls that travel through the air, follow parabolas, and reach various distances, impact on the cliffs, on the slope. With larger explosions, they can even reach the seashore. With exceptionally large explosions, they might even reach this area. So we are not out of the reach of potential bombs, but it seems that the very big explosions that propel bombs up to our position are extremely rare.
But even before the sun sets, the incandescence of the molten rocks appear. It's an exciting precursor for what is about to come. The first eruption is a big one. It showers the entire upper region of the volcano in incandescent glowing material. Lightning flashes as the ash column generates a massive charge of static electricity.
We've just seen two very, very large explosions. The last one, probably the biggest I've seen so far on this volcano.
An ensemble of blocks of all sizes are ejected, which typically land on the upper parts of near the crater on the slope and then start tumbling down. And one by one, they end up building this free slope called the Shara. The Shara comes from the island of Stromboli, which is similar in activity and has a similar depression, which is called the Shara del Fuoco, the slide of fire translated from Italian.
After several powerful eruptions, things quiet down for the rest of the night. Even Tom is caught off guard by the size of the eruption. The bombs literally appear to be flung as high as the Empire State Building.
Second after the explosion, a huge detonation reached us. Eruption triggered a small earthquake and some rocks fell here from the cliff. It was very, very impressive, if not even a bit scary. If explosions become bigger, much bigger than that, we should be thinking about evacuating the place.
Fortunately, the volcano remains quiet for the rest of the night, which is a good thing. It's hard to sleep on a tiny island that explodes every 15 minutes. Out at sea, it's a good day for the fishermen. They've come across a school of tuna. The boat returns, unaware of the eventful night. Before too long, nature's alarm clock goes off, Batutara style. The group sets up sunshades. It's going to be a hot day. But then Batutara erupts big. As rocks begin to roll down the slope and crash into the water, the captain decides it's time to pull anchor and get out of there. The real danger with these volcanoes is that a slight increase by 10% could mean the difference between rocks hitting the slope and those hitting the beach or landing in the water. The boat retreats further down the beach to set up and catch fish for the day's meals. The daytime eruption appears less frightening, so the routine continues. The frequency of eruptions provides the chance to see in detail what's going on during the Strombolian eruptions. Deep inside the volcano, magma is rising through a conduit at a slow rate. Gases that are dissolved in the magma begin to escape and form bubbles as they near the surface. Unlike Ijen, where they constantly vent reducing pressure, here the gases are trapped.
Above the magma column, there is a thin crust which maintains. So under this plug, gas bubbles continue to form, to expand, to become more and more pressurized until the pressure of the gases in the upper part of the conduit in the magma column is large enough to eject the plug.
A split second later, the lava plug gives. A small jet of ash shoots out, followed by a sudden release of pressure. Gas, which was in a liquid state because of the pressure, suddenly expands to 1,200 times its volume, just like a shaken champagne bottle that pops its cork. This instantly fragments the remaining cap. The rock is pulverized into tephra, which is small pieces of rock mixed with fine-grain ash. After the initial eruption, the conduit becomes open. More jets of ash and lava are blasted out. Contrary to popular belief, volcanoes do not emit columns of smoke. This material is made up entirely of rock and gas mixed with some steam from vaporized groundwater. The material falls back into the crater, plugging it again, and the process starts over. Because Strombolian eruptions don't damage the magma conduit inside the volcano, these eruptions can continue for decades, sometimes even for thousands of years.
This plug is not very strong, so it doesn't take a lot of time for new gas bubbles to form and become strong enough to destroy the new plug.
After a day of nearly constant eruptions, the group does not know what to expect for the night. Tom's experience with Strombolian eruptions tells him it can go either way. Volcanoes often enter into quiet periods after an intensive phase, while they recharge their magma supply. The problem here is Tom doesn't know how long this volcano's cycles last. It should make for an interesting evening. Tonight, the eruptions are building in intensity. It will be a long night. Then, at 2:30 in the morning, there is a monster eruption. The entire cone is showered in glowing bombs, and the eruption even propelled them down the other side of the cone. The scale of this eruption is concerning. There is no way off the island till the boat returns in the morning. For the next 2 hours, the volcano enters a period of calm. Only a few small eruptions occur, followed by a continuous glow in the crater. The lull gives members of the group a chance to sleep. At about 3 a.m., they are awoken again by an even more powerful eruption. This large eruption sent bombs flying into the water, although not near the beach. It is enough of a warning. But with no way off the island until the boat returns in the morning, all they can do is watch and hope the eruptions calm down.
We just had quite a large explosion, which ejected a lot of material, and along with this material, some of the crater itself apparently break loose, like now, started to slide down, forming a glowing avalanche, a minor pyroclastic flow maybe even, and even traveled over the sea for some tens of meters, I guess. Produce a massive ash and steam plume that drifted along with the wind this way. And now the crater morphology has changed. We see some of its outer parts have collapsed, and we see the glowing interior of the solid mass of lava. What we see now are rock falls caused by gravitation, because there could be a change in the eruption style that we're actually witnessing. Maybe it's more It's less gas rich or magma that is poorer in gas coming up, which contributes mainly to the growth of the lava dome that in turn starts breaking off, causing these glowing avalanches.
This was a close call. It's too dangerous to be this close to an unknown volcano during such a violent cycle. The group cannot risk another night on the island. They start to tear down the camp and get ready for the boat to return.
We've had an incredible time here. We've seen the most spectacular fireworks you can imagine. The bombs smashing against the wall. And the glowing lava illuminating the whole slope and the reflection in the water. It's incredible.
As they're packing up, the eruptions return to normal. For Tom, this was an above-average risk, but one that paid off. He was able to photograph the spectacular Strombolian eruptions at close range. Witnessing a massive surge in eruptions is something that cannot be predicted. Batutara's explosions this night were so strong that they blew a section of the cone off, changing the actual structure of the volcano. It's likely this was a natural part of its cycle that prevents the volcano from becoming too large. It's a small window into the process that builds volcanic islands like Batutara.